Welcome back to the Restricted Handling Daily Intel Brief. This is what's been going on in Iran and the Middle East in the past 24 hours. The central development is a major rupture between Iran and the United Arab Emirates. The Emirati Defense Ministry says it detected two ballistic missiles launched from Iran toward maritime traffic, with both falling into the sea. Iran rejects the accusation as baseless, and no public independent forensic package has settled the dispute. Abu Dhabi has still acted decisively, suspending all trade, commercial exchange, and financial transactions with Iran. That economic cutoff reaches far beyond the missile scare. The UAE has long served as a commercial, banking, logistics, and re-export channel for Iranian business, including during periods of political tension. Removing that channel adds friction to payments, shipping, procurement, and access to hard currency. It also closes one of the regional relationships that might have helped both governments step back from escalation. The policy change follows repeated attacks and alerts involving Emirati-linked shipping around the Strait of Hormuz. From Abu Dhabi's perspective, a broad cutoff demonstrates that attacks on maritime traffic will carry costs outside the battlefield. From Tehran's perspective, the accusation looks like political cover for closer Emirati alignment with Washington and Israel. Both narratives now support stronger measures, which makes a quiet return to business harder. Iran has also broadened its warning to every Gulf state that hosts American forces. Armed Forces Chief Major General Ali Abdullahi said Iran can observe activity at regional bases and argued that any assistance or facilitation to the American military amounts to participation alongside it. He pointed specifically to the number of military and refueling aircraft in the region. That makes the warning more operational than a generic statement about sovereignty. Gulf governments often say their territory will not be used to attack Iran. Tehran is signaling that those declarations will not be enough if Iranian commanders see tankers, surveillance flights, logistics movements, or other enabling activity. That can deter cooperation with Washington, but it can also turn routine or ambiguous movements into potential triggers. The risk is especially high when Iran and the UAE already disagree about the origin of missiles near Emirati waters. The diplomatic picture is just as unstable. President Donald Trump says no talks with Iran are taking place or scheduled, and he insists the Strait of Hormuz is open and safe. Iranian leaders say the strait remains shut until the United States meets conditions involving sanctions, port blockades, frozen assets, and military threats. Trump's statement also conflicts with Jared Kushner's suggestion that dialogue remains active. Publicly, the two governments cannot even agree on whether they are talking. Oman is trying to build a maritime arrangement that could restore some shipping and create a path back to negotiations. That role has become more dangerous after Trump reportedly threatened to bomb Oman if it obstructed American aims and publicly entertained declaring the strait U.S. territory. Those comments weaken the mediator by making compromise look like exposure. Muscat now has to reassure Tehran that it is not simply carrying an American ultimatum, while convincing Washington that any deal will constrain Iranian leverage. The likely near-term pattern is coercive bargaining without a stable ceasefire. Iran can keep shipping constrained and demand economic relief. Washington can maintain military pressure and blockades while insisting the waterway is effectively under control. Oman and other regional states can pass proposals between them, but no party wants to appear to concede first. That is why a day without a major new strike can still leave the strategic situation worse. Energy markets are pricing that uncertainty. Brent crude has moved to roughly $91.79 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate is around $85.79. Abu Dhabi's main stock index fell 0.9% after the missile scare, with banking and property shares leading the decline. Commercial shipping remains heavily disrupted, and many shipowners continue to avoid the strait. Before the war, about 1/5 of global oil and liquefied natural gas moved through Hormuz. Alternative routes and selective loadings can reduce some pressure, but they cannot replace normal traffic quickly. The Emirati trade cutoff adds a second economic channel. Even if no missile lands on energy infrastructure, banking restrictions, re-export disruptions, higher insurance costs, and uncertain port access can raise prices. A credible maritime agreement could remove part of that premium fast. The market's problem is that every path to an agreement currently runs through leaders who are publicly contradicting or threatening each other. A separate escalation line is forming in Syria. Israel struck the Abu al-Duhur airbase near Aleppo after saying Syria was close to violating a security understanding by allowing Turkish forces to deploy there. Turkey called that claim untenable and accused Benjamin Netanyahu of pursuing destabilizing expansion. No casualties were reported, and the base was not functioning as a major combat installation, but the strike exposed how close two powerful regional militaries can come to a direct clash. The United States is now working on a formal deconfliction and information sharing mechanism among Turkey, Israel, and Syria. The purpose is practical. Give commanders a channel to clarify movements before someone fires. That can reduce accidents, but it cannot reconcile the underlying strategies. Turkey wants influence in Syria's reconstruction and defense. Israel wants to stop new forces and capabilities from approaching areas it considers vital to its security. The mechanism manages the collision. It does not remove it. Finally, the U.S. Justice Department has unsealed new and updated charges against 17 people tied to an Iranian institute accused of stealing research, intellectual property, and account credentials for the Revolutionary Guard and other Iranian entities. The alleged intrusions occurred mainly from 2013 through 2017. Today's event is the indictment and public attribution, not a newly discovered active campaign. That time distinction matters. The case still shows how Iran used contractors and academic targeting to acquire knowledge at scale. It also gives Washington new options involving rewards, travel restrictions, arrests, and allied cyber defense. France is adding pressure on a separate front by expelling 2 Iranian diplomats after a dispute involving French embassy personnel. Together, these developments show an expanding contest across trade, military basing, maritime access, diplomacy, and cyber attribution. The Gulf rupture is the lead because it links all of them: accusation, retaliation, economic leverage, and a shrinking space for mediation. That's it for today's tour through the world's least relaxing headlines. If this was useful, leave a review or comment. For the deeper dive, head to restrictedhandling.substack.com. Stay sharp.